your transformation taking too long, and it is absolutely nothing to do with how hard you're trying. In fact, trying harder is exactly what's slowing it down. If you've been stuck in frustration yo-yo effect, feeling elevated one week, spiraling back into victimhood or attack mode the next, I am going to map out the exact stages of transformation from point A to point Z. And by the end of this video, your mind will finally understand the trap, because when the mind understands, the mind transforms. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And today we're discussing the real reason why transformation taking so long. And we know that sometimes when talking about transformation, some people say it takes lifetimes, and it takes decades, and it takes enormous amount of dedication. So what is the real reason why transformation takes so long? What's really happening behind the scenes? Why do we need to prolong that stage of well-being and peace and tranquility? Why is it such trial and error? What makes it that way? So let's look at the stages of transformation and how do we get from point A to point Z. This is something that I've been exploring probably most of my life. What is transformation? Where some people have higher consciousness, meaning they're taking life easier, everything is okay, they're happier with the life circumstances. And some people take life circumstances in a more heavier way. It takes them longer to come in and come out of the situation. When we're talking about transformation, we have, or enlightenment or consciousness, whatever, you have this image of this Buddha being who's happy, who's smiling, who's like in peace with themselves. And then, of course, it makes you feel, I'm not there, but that's where I want to be. Transformation usually starts through suffering, because you make a decision, I don't want to suffer anymore, prolonged suffering, life circumstances happening, you're torturing yourself, you have stories about the life circumstances, you have self-pity, you start describing it, and then at some point the body gets into a very tense stage because you've been feeding it stories to a point where you cannot take it anymore. So you're either asking for help, or sometimes through this, it happens several times when people have shared with this intense suffering, something pops and there is a moment of, why am I choosing that? And the mind just immediately starts cooperating with consciousness and with presence. I haven't had this experience. For me, it was a harder trip. It was a longer trip. It took time, effort, practice to understand how is my mind working.